Everyone, welcome back to the workshop. I'm down here in the basement doing some projects, and anytime I'm running the laser, I'm kind of paying attention to it, but I'm also doing a little organization around the shop, and came across some of my acrylic paints. It's a 12-pack. They came in this little kind of flimsy tag board box, which works okay to hold them, but I know this is going to get wrecked. So I want to create something that's going to hold these a little bit better, keep them organized, give me some options. So I'm going to make a little design to hold these, this set of 12. We're going to cut it out on the laser and we'll see how it works. So something you're interested in seeing, want to find out more? Stay tuned. I'm going to jump right into it. I'm going to start out in the office. We're going to take a look at the designs. I drew these up in SketchUp. It's a tool I've been using for years that allows me to do some 3D modeling, and I am able to export them as DXFs, which will then import into Lightburn with reasonable success. So let's jump over and take a look at the designs. First one here is more of your kind of stand-up display, puts them at an angle. And so you see it here. We've got the 3 rows of 4 for our 12 slots for paint. We've got the front panel here that kind of grabs the paint bottle kind of midway, and then we have a double panel here that has another circle that the paint will sit down into so it doesn't want to slide around, and then a flat panel that's the base behind there. So you see they're kind of notched at an angle. Top one here is just the single, but then we double up these back pieces for the base piece, and then kind of have them at an angle there that they'll all be accessible from the front, and you'll be able to see the glue color or paint colors in that. And I've modeled this up for your typical 3mm craft plywood. Overall dimensions, where this one comes in at, it's about 10.5 inches tall, just a hair over 8 inches wide, and then we've got about just under 3.5 inches front to back. I do have this back panel on there. You could actually put some screw holes in if you wanted to mount it to the wall. Otherwise, it does sit on a bench or a shelf nicely. I opted to not add the screw holes just because everybody's situation is different. They might be trying to anchor it into a stud, or they might be using some wall anchors or such. It's fairly easy. You could drill a couple of holes up in that top area, and a long enough bit you could kind of come in through these holes there. You could maybe drill a hole from the back and then use a screwdriver to mount it. But I figured that we'll just leave that open to the person however they want to use it. I'm just going to be putting it on my bench, so I'm leaving those holes out. So right next to it we have the laser layout, and I've got 2 sheets here. They fit on 16 by 12 fairly nicely. Went with that size because I'll be cutting these out on the Reno the Monport Reno 45 Pro, and that has a 16 by 12 working area. This would also fit into your typical diode lasers. We do have a little bit of excess on the sides. A lot of the lasers there, minimum are 400 by 400s. I know some of them are a bit different, but you're going to be able to work with this on either one. If you have a smaller laser than that, you might need to break these out. But like I said, it does fit on 2 different sheets. And a little tip on this side, you'll look at my layout here. These are all the kind of shelf pieces, and I actually connected them so that instead of this line being cut on each piece, it cuts it once for both sides. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those lines that are sharing them, and that's about 6, what do we say? Actually closer to 8 inches per line. So that's 50 some inches of cutting that could be 100 inches of cutting. So you're obviously going to cut down on your cut time by overlapping those. On these, it doesn't matter if there's a fractional difference. We're not worried about tight fitting on these parts up with something else. So the kerf difference there isn't going to make a huge deal. But that is our first design. Here is our second design. This is a little more compact and then almost replicating that kind of cardboard tag board box they came in, but if you just want something that's going to hold them a little bit easier without taking up as much space, also came up with this. So it's about 6 3/4 inches wide, about 5 1/4 inches deep, and then just under 2 inches tall. You see we've got our 12 holes there for the paint bottles, and we do have a solid base and then doubled up with this spacer that's got the holes in there. That just keeps the bottles from wanting to wiggle around. It helps lock them in place. That's not keyed in. It just gets kind of set in there, maybe laminated with a little bit of glue. So again, let's take a look at the cut file on this one. This one will fit onto a single sheet of 16 by 12, kind of pushing those edges on the 16. So if you're using a dialed laser, you may need to cut out this piece separately. But like I say, these items are all separate. You could, again, kind of line up these notches on here just to cut down on a little bit of cutting time. Same thing here. You know, if you're cutting out a lot of these, you know, if you were going to make these as kits, that might be worth your time. You know, production setting, saving those few seconds on minutes on each cut times however many you're going to make definitely is worth optimizing your files there. But we're just going to be cutting one out of each for now. But if I was going to be putting this into production, I'd definitely be looking at those ways to tweak this. So now that we have our basic design in place, let's jump over to the shop. We'll throw some material in the laser, get these cut out, and see how they look when we're done. So I'm using some 3mm material that I'm not even sure where I got it, but we're gonna go ahead and get this focused. The Reno 45 has that little pop down plunger, and then you just spin the knob until that pops up and it's in focus. So we've got it running here, and we're running at about 30mm a second, and this is about 60% power on the Reno 45, so that's about the maximum power you want to run on this, and it's working pretty well. I'm getting a little bit of kind of staining on the edges of the cuts. It has a built-in air pump on it that runs all the time. It's one thing I might like to upgrade on this, is see if I can get it on shop air, but the parts are coming out clean. We'll just do a little sanding cleanup. So on to sheet number 2, we're getting those circles cut out, and once again, parts are dropping out. We're running at that 30 to 35mm a second, and you see there the control panel gives us a nice preview of where the job's at. And the other thing is the smoke extraction. It does have a built-in fan, but I have it hooked up to my inline fan as well. But a couple things we might just improve, but overall it's working pretty well. Parts are dropping out. Now we're back over at the bench, and like I said, we're just going to sand off a little bit of that kind of vaporization and marking on the edges. Just gives it a nice cleaner look overall. This is a shop piece, you wouldn't need to do that, but it is nice to just clean it up with a little bit of sandpaper. All right, onto the glue up. I'm going to be using some Type On 2 wood glue because this has got multiple parts, and I want to have some extra time getting parts adjusted. So just going to be putting a little bit of glue on the edges here, and then I'm going to be locking them in with some CA. So these are the parts, the double stacked parts. You need to get laminated using a little kicker to set off that CA glue, hold it in place for just a few seconds, and rinse and repeat on all the other items. Once that's done, we can start with one of the side pieces. I'm going to start with the thicker pieces, just doing a quick test fit here. And once I feel good with that, going ahead with that Type On 2, that wood glue, going to give us some extra time for the glue up. Getting it on all the tabs, and just placing each one in position, getting it ready, cleaning up a little bit of the glue as you go with some paper towel. Then we got to go with our front thinner pieces. Once again, a little glue on each tab, get them each in place. This glue won't set up too fast, giving us time to get everything adjusted. With all of those in place, now we can go ahead and add glue to the other side of the tabs, making sure get good enough coverage, and then work each of those tabs into place, flip it over, and do just a little bit of cleanup on the edges. Now we're going to go on the back. I'm going to go use wood glue on there, but I want this to set up fast, so I'm going to use CA on the other parts of the tabs, press those down, get everything lined up, and we'll go ahead and use a little kicker to seal it off and cure. Now we're on to the second one. This is just a simple box design, so I'm just kind of working my way around the edges using some CA glue on this one, and getting those sides put in place. And we got to get that bottom piece in. Just going to drop a little bit of wood glue on the parts, and then we go ahead and put the top on with some CA, add some kicker, and we're good to go. And here is the completed glue caddy. This one has the nice advantage of they sit up at an angle. You can kind of see the colors, and it makes it a little bit easier. They're going to stay still. This is definitely sturdy. So you could set this on your bench like I have on a shelf, or you could opt to drill some holes in the back and mount it on the wall. So the downfall of this is it does take up a little more space than the small box is, but it is more sturdy. So this is the second option. This is more of a flat, compact style, kind of replacing the box it came in, but gives you some rigidity in holding these. The box isn't going to fall apart, but you can still see the colors of the paint. You can slide them out pretty easily. I have the bottom circles as well to kind of keep them from sliding around. So this will work out all right. And it has a side benefit of some of my epoxies also fit in there, as well as some of my airbrush paint cups will fit in there as well. So real simple design, but would work out as well if you just kind of want something a little more durable and compact to store them in. So there you have another kind of shop or craft room organization project. Keeping our stuff organized and convenient is a nice thing to do, although you don't want to get down that trap of just constantly making things for your shop or your workspace and never actually creating. But I find that the more accessible my items are, but when they're kind of put in their place, the more creative I can be, the less hassle I have of like shuffling things around trying to find things. So if you're interested in playing around with this design, I will have the files down below, a link to my Etsy shop where you can purchase them and cut some out for yourself, or use them as inspiration to modify into something more useful for some other tools or supplies. I hope this inspired you. Let me know down below what you thought of it, if you're going to use it, maybe what you'd do differently. I love getting that feedback in a constructive way or an encouraging way, and so that just helps us all kind of share our ideas, and we all get better together. I'm no expert at any of this. I'm just doing things in my workshop and sharing them with you. So hopefully reached my goals of inspiring you. I also have links down below to the Reno 45 Pro that I used in this video. It's a great entry-level CO2. It has all the features that I would look for in the kind of a baseline CO2 desktop one without breaking the bank. It's one of the cheapest ones to kind of get you going with the CO2. But this project can be done with a diode if that's what you have, or if that's what you're looking for. The diode lasers will cut this craft plywood just fine as well. The links down below will take you to that. Those links do support this channel with a small commission, so I appreciate you using that, but as always, no pressure, just happy to share this information with you. Once again, thanks for checking out this video. We'll be back at it with more projects in the future, but in the meantime, hope you can get out into your workshop and make something too. We'll catch you next time.